Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vijeta, and today we will be talking about Love's Labor Lost, written in 1590. So let us begin. It is the early comedy of Shakespeare, and it is believed to have been written in 1590. The play is in 5 acts. The King of Navarre and his 3 lords, Biron, Longueville, and Domaine, swear an oath to scholarship, which includes fasting and avoiding contact with women for 3 years. Basically, they wish to be like celibate scholars. They are told by Don Armando, a Spaniard, that he has caught Costard, a fool, and Jacanetta, a country wench. Don Armando confesses that he has fallen in love with Jacanetta, I think that's how it's pronounced. The Princess of France comes to visit the king. The king couldn't receive the princess because of his oath, so he decides to court her outside the castle. The 3 lords fall in love with 3 ladies, while the king falls in love with the princess. Now all come to know about each other's affair, and they understand that each of them have broken their oaths. A messenger arrives to tell the princess about her father's death. The women tell their suitors to seek them again in a year, and the play ends with their departure. And there is also Love's Labour's 1, which is a play by Shakespeare, and it is supposed to be a sequel of Love's Labour Lost, but Love's Labour's Lost or Love's Labour Lost, but none of its copies have survived. This is a difficult one. Honorificabile Tudini tatibus is the dative and ablative plural of the medieval Latin word honorificabile tudinatus, which can be translated as the state of being able to receive honors. It is mentioned by the character Costard in Act 5, Scene 1 of this play. That this can be asked, not the word, but the act and the scene. Costard name is an archaic term for apple, or metaphorically a man's head. Shakespeare used this word in this sense in Richard III, the play. Now we come to the famous quotes. Beauty is bought by the judgment of the age, and love is familiar, love is a devil. There is no evil angel but love. I think I repeated it. Now we come to a known play, I think, Romeo and Juliet, and it was written in 1594. It is a tragedy by Shakespeare, believed to have been written in 1594. The play starts in the streets of Verona with a fighting between the two noble families, Capulet and Montague. Looking at the disturbance in the city by these two families, the Prince of Verona, Aeschylus, announces the decree of death to the individuals who disturb the peace in the future. Romeo, the son of Montague, tells his cousin Benvolio that he is in love with the woman, Rosalind, but she doesn't return her love. His love, not her love. That's a little bit. Now, Paris, a kinsman of the prince, seeks Juliet's hand for marriage, but her father Capulet asks him to wait for 2 more years, since Juliet was not even 14. Actually, she was 13 years old and Romeo was 16. Capulet organizes a traditional feast in which he invites Paris so that he can win Juliet's heart. Benvolio suggests to Romeo to attend the feast so that Romeo can compare his beloved Rosalind with other beautiful women of Verona and hopefully forget about her. Now, Romeo agrees to attend the feast as he finds the name of Rosalind in the invitation list. Mercutio and the nurse of Juliet are the comic characters in the play. In the Capulet household, Juliet talks to her mother, Lady Capulet, about her marriage with Paris, and she says that she will marry him if she could fall in love with him. Now the feast begins. Romeo attends the feast along with Benvolio and Mercutio. As Romeo sees Juliet, he falls in love with her and completely forgets about Rosalind. A young Capulet, Tybalt, cousin of Juliet, recognizes him and he prepares to attack him, but he is held by the older Capulet, that is his uncle. because they are in a feast and they don't want to make a bad impression on the prince. So yeah, they kiss each other, Romeo and Juliet, that is. And but when they come to know that their families are actually enemies, they are very upset. I mean, they did not know that they were Montague and Capulet, respectively. And yeah, that is kind of a blow. Friar Lawrence, a friend and confessor of Romeo, who agrees to marry the young lovers in secret, thinking their family's age old fight will possibly end. So he is like, yeah, I will marry you both. Now they are secretly married. The next day of their marriage, Benvolio and Mercutio are encountered by Tybalt, and Tybalt challenges Romeo for a duel. Now, what happened was Tybalt actually kills Mercutio first, okay, and after that, Romeo goes on and kills Tybalt, and he was therefore banished from Verona by the prince for his crime. So it was kind of Tybalt who initiated this attack, I can say. Yeah, so Juliet comes to know that Romeo has killed Tybalt, but she resettles herself by thinking that her duty belongs with her love to Romeo. And yeah, she is madly infatuated or in love with Romeo. So she is like, yeah, now my duty belongs to my husband. Before leaving Verona, Romeo sneaks into Juliet's room and spends the night as husband and wife. In the morning, they depart. He departs. Capulet plans Juliet's marriage in just 3 days only, and Juliet asks her nurse for the suggestion for what should she do, because she already is married, you see, but not everybody knows about it. So nurse, she suggests her to marry Paris, but Juliet disregards her and goes to Friar Lawrence, who had actually married Romeo and Juliet. So she goes to him and tells him asks him what should she do. Friar gives Juliet a potion that she should drink the night before the wedding, and that will make her appear to be dead. Friar also sends this message to Romeo through Friar John, but the problem is that Friar John is quarantined in a house and he couldn't deliver this message to Romeo. And thus Romeo learns that Juliet is actually dead. Right now, Romeo is in Mantua, but he hears that Juliet is dead. Now, Romeo plans to kill himself as he can't live without Juliet, so he buys poison and rushes to Verona. In the Capulet crypt, Romeo confronts Paris, who was scattering flowers on Juliet's grave, and they fight, and Romeo, unfortunately, he kills Paris. When Romeo sees Juliet's body, he drinks the poison. Now, very unfortunately, Juliet wakes up after he drinks the poison and sees Romeo dead. She then kisses his poisonous lips to kill herself, and then lastly she stabs herself with a dagger to death. In the end, Montague and Capulet decide to break their long-standing feud after seeing their children's dead bodies. Famous quotes from Romeo and Juliet: "Don't waste your love on somebody who doesn't value it." Quite a contemporary but relatable advice. Love is a smoke made with the fume of sighs. Beautiful. Oh, teach me how I should forget to think. Women may fall when there is no strength in men. Women, it's not woman. Okay. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. What is in name that which we call a rose? By any other name would smell as sweet. Quite beautiful lines. Turn him into stars and form a constellation in his image. His face will make the heavens so beautiful that the world will fall in love with the night and forget about the garish sun. One pain is cured by another. Catch some new infection in your eye, and the poison of the old one will die. It is easy for someone to joke about scars if they have never been cut. Some grief shows much of love, but much of grief shows still some want of it. A pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. If love be blind, love cannot hit the mark. Love goes towards love as schoolboys from their books. So, yeah, these were some quotes, beautiful quotes, befitting a beautiful play. And now we come to Richard II. But before that, you can see the range of Shakespeare and the praise and the criticisms that we have seen beforehand now kind of feel justifiable because of the variety in Shakespeare's works. And this shows that a lot of Shakespeare's works have been relevant in today's time as well. A lot of contemporary movies, TV shows, and books are actually the ones that have their origins from Shakespeare. Do you know Romeo and Juliet is a Broadway show that is quite popular in many countries of Europe, like in France, Hungary, and even in Slovak countries. I'm sorry, like Slovakia, and even in China, Korea, all these countries. If you happen to see the channel ACI 01, there is he has all the compilation of Romeo and Juliet Broadway musicals. Unfortunately, the English versions are not like the English version have their recordings, but they have not been performed. And even there's a book called Prince of Shadows by Rachel Kane, which has a modern, not a modern take, but a different take on Romeo and Juliet. It is centered more around Benvolio and Rosalind and their love stories. And you see, like all these works and all the musicals and all, they came into being because of, in some ways, because of Shakespeare. So, yeah, that is something. Now we come to the next play, which is Richard II, written in 1595. Now, King Richard II, he was the King of England from 1377 to 1399, and he lived from 1367 to 1400. King Richard II is also known as Richard of Bordeaux, who was deposed on 30th September 1399 by Henry of Bolingbroke, later called Henry IV. He was the son of Edward, the Black Prince. Now, this play is based on the life of King Richard, ruled 1377 to 1399, and the play covers only 2 years of his life, that is 1398 to 1400. Harold Bloom said, Richard is a bad king, but an interesting metaphysical poet. The main characters in the play are King Richard II, who is the King of Britain, John of Gaunt, Duke of Lancaster, Richard's uncle, Duke of York, Richard's uncle, Duke of Ormond, I think, York's son, Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Woodstock, Duke of Gloucester or Gloucester, Henry Bolingbroke, son of John of Gaunt, Duke of Hereford, later King Henry IV, Earl of Northumberland, Henry Hotspur Perag, Northumberland's son. Earl of Gloucester, brother of Thomas Mowbray, Bushy, Bagot, Green, and Duke of Ormond, son of Duke of York, faithful members of the king, Exton, who murders the king in prison. Sorry. Yeah. So that's more or less that you need to know about Richard II. If you wish to learn more about him, you can, read the play. I have just covered the information which is more likely to come in your NET exam. Now we come to another play, which is A Midsummer Night's Dream, and it was written in 1595, and it is a comedy play by Shakespeare. It is believed to be written in 1595. Theseus, Duke of Athens, prepares for his marriage with the Queen of Amazons, Hippolyta. They organize a 4-day festival for their marriage. He asks his master, Philostrat, to find some amusement for the occasion. An Athenian nobleman, Aegeus, reaches the king's court for the judgment of his daughter Hermia. Hermia was in love with Lysander, while Aegeus wanted her to marry Demetrius. The king warns Hermia for disobeying her father, Hermia and Lysander plan to escape and they tell their plan to Hermia's friend Helena. Helena was once engaged to Demetrius and she still loves him, although he doesn't love her. They all depart to a wood, and Demetrius and Helena and Hermia and Lysander, the two couples, in the same wood, two different groups were also there. First, a band of fairies, and second, a band of Athenian craftsmen who were rehearsing a play to be performed in front of the Duke. Oberon and Titania, who are from a band of fairies, were at fight on the point of making an Indian prince as a knight. To obtain revenge, Oberon sends his servant Puck to fetch the magic flower, very important. He asks Puck to spread some flower juice on Titania's eyelid and some onto Athenian young men. When Lysander wakes, he sees Helena and falls in love with her. Because, unfortunately, Puck sprays that flower juice on Lysander. Puck tries to undo his mistake, and as a result, both the men run behind Helena. So now, Demetrius and Lysander both are in love with Helena because of the flower juice. Now, Hermia is infuriated and asks Helena for a fight. Demetrius and Lysander also fight for Helena's love. Oberon and Titania, who are from a band of fairies, were at fight that we have already covered. I think I just repeated the slide. So yeah, this is where I stop my lecture because I think it's enough for today, and I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, comment, and I will meet you all in